Okay, so I noticed something not long ago, and that thing is that there is a gap in this market. And what do I mean? Well, what is the difference between Topstep and my funded futures? There's multiple futures firms, and I know that more are coming. I don't know what is happening to the futures firms, but I know more are coming. Now, I don't want to give my opinion on that. And also, there's 3 futures firms, 3 main ones, and I'm not mentioning one because I know that I've heard some rumors of delays and etc. And so, prop firms right now are a tricky topic. So let's talk about the difference between my funded futures and Topstep. I'm not paid by any of these companies at all. I'm just giving you my honest review, and if you guys want to use the link in the description, if you like the video, then perfect, it's an affiliate link, it's going to help me out. Now, what is the biggest difference between Topstep and my funded futures? Well, my funded futures has a little bit of an advantage if you are a particular trader. So first, let's talk about Topstep. Why is Topstep such a good prop firm in my opinion? Well, because ever since they changed the pricing now is way more affordable, or even a little bit better than my funded futures, but we will see why in the future of this video. And the biggest difference in my mind, given the conditions of the prop firm industry right now, the biggest differentiator is that Topstep is regulated. They've been around ever since 2012, while my funded futures is a little bit younger and doesn't have as much experience on the futures realm. But we know that the CEO of my funded futures is also the CEO of my funded FX, which means that he knows how to run a prop firm. And from what he's told me, because I wanted to know the difference, hey, I can contact him. I asked him the difference between my funded FX and my funded futures, and he said that futures is way more consistent. Like, the income is more consistent, the traders are better, you don't get as many gamblers, people trying to game the system, so the quality of the customers is better, and you don't have as many cheaters. Why? Well, because the whole model of futures prop firms is way harder. You have the trailing drawdown. You have withdrawing profits is not as easy. You have consistency rules. You have so many things that makes cheaters and gamblers not be able to profit. And so because of that, that's why the model is more consistent. So Topstep has been around ever since 2012. And one of the things that they both have in common is that both know how to run a huge prop firm. Because one of the things you need to understand is that most prop firms right now, they're having issues because they're reaching the stage of high success, $5 million revenue plus, which means a lot of customers, which also means that your risk management has to be on point. And both of these CEOs and both of these companies have proven that they know how to do that. But for me, if you are asking me that this company is going to be around in the next 10 years, what company is it? I would go for Topstep. I like to bet on the old dogs. If you ask me CFD prop firms, I'm going to say FTMO, number 1. Then you also have Fivers. And if you ask me about futures prop firms between Topstep and my funded futures, then I'm going to go for Topstep. Now, why is it that right now I'm only funded with my funded futures? Well, it's because my funded futures, in my opinion, is easier to pass. And that is the biggest differentiator between my funded futures and Topstep. And there's just one key rule that makes a big difference, and that is the consistency rule, which means that in Topstep, you actually have a minimum 2 trading days. And in my funded futures, you have the minimum of 1 trading day, which means you can pass in 1 day. Now, if you know me, and if you've watched the risk management video that I did not long ago on the futures firms, then you know that I am someone that likes to risk more on the challenges. I don't like to be here trying for 4 weeks, 8 weeks to get funded. No, especially with futures where you pay monthly until you get funded. The last thing I want to do is be there for 2 months. Then I would rather go for a CFD firm if that's the case. So this is why until now I've chosen my funded futures. Now let's go onto the computer, see the difference between my funded futures and Topstep on a technical basis. Before we keep going, I want to let everyone know that the waitlist for the Simple Trading Edge is now open, and it's the first link in the description. So see you there. So my funded futures has 2 types of accounts. They have the starter and they have the expert. And we'll see the difference between the starter and the expert. But if you're looking at the starter, this is basically the same as the normal account with Topstep, with the only one that they have, which is the Combine. And it's less expensive to go for Topstep, but it's not going to be a huge difference because you have to use a discount code when you are doing these firms, when you are going for my funded futures, okay? Always use the discount code, keep that in mind. Then profit target, max position are the same, trailing max drawdown is the same. One of the differences is that my funded futures does not have a maximum daily loss, while Topstep does. Then the drawdown is the same. Once the day finishes, they will see how much you have in the account and they will trail the drawdown up if you made any profits. And then activation fee is always $150. $149. Now, one of the big differences, and I think these are very, very important, is that with Topstep, the first $10,000 are yours, the same thing with My Funded Futures. But with Topstep, traders can request a payout up to 50% of their account balance after accumulating 5 winning trading days per payout request. So you need to make at least $200 for 5 days for you to be able to get 50% of the account balance. While with My Funded Futures, you have no minimum trading days or profit days, but your minimum withdrawal has to be $1,000. That's the only thing that My Funded Futures has. Again, you don't need to have 5 winning trading days for you to request a payout. Now, one of the differences is that when you get funded with Topstep, you don't have a consistency rule, while My Funded Futures has a 40% consistency rule. That means that your best day cannot more than 40% of your total profits since the start of the account or since the balance recorded after the last payout. Which means that let's say you profit $10,000 on one trading day, you can't then withdraw the $10,000 because that profit is going to be more than 40%. And if you look up consistency, they will give you an example. If you make a total of $10,000 of simulated profits in one day, 4,500 of which is beyond the 40% consistency rule, then you must continue trading the account more until the profits of every trading day will be less than 40% of the profits. For example, if you make $2,000 more profits, the total profit is now $12,000, and now 4,500 will be less than 40% of the total profits made. So you will be able to withdraw. You will just have to be more consistent when you get funded with My Funded Futures. But what is the kicker? Well, if you don't want these things, then you can go for the Expert Challenge. That gives you way more freedom. They don't have the consistency rule. They don't have the scaling rule, which means you can't scale into positions. You don't have the activation fee, but in turn, you need to achieve more profit, even though you have the same drawdown, but the profit to drawdown ratio gets a little bit worse. Now, these are the biggest differences that I find between Topstep and My Funded Futures. What I would say, if you guys want to know which one you should probably go for and you want me to give you a recommendation that is not financial advice, it's just a prop firm recommendation. Basically, if you are a beginner and if you are still struggling with your psychology, then I recommend Topstep for one specific reason. One, their rules are more catered for beginners, which means with the consistency rule, it forces you during the challenge to be consistent. They're a little bit cheaper, so I wouldn't recommend you going for the Expert Challenge on My Funded Futures. That is going to be more expensive. That's going to be for better traders. But if you want to test futures prop firms out, I would go for Topstep because they also have their own dedicated platform that once you profit in a day or once you have 1 or 2 losing trading days, you can lock yourself out. Like, that is one of the best ads that I genuinely think My Funded Futures should add, is their own platform where you can do these type of things where just lock me out. That is the best trading coach you can have. Just lock me out. Don't let me trade. It's like, imagine every time you take 1 loss or 1 win, you get knocked out and you will only wake up tomorrow. You would be way more profitable. It would avoid a lot of the emotions that you would feel. So if you are more on the beginner side, then I recommend you going for Topstep. Now, if you are trying to pass a challenge quicker, if you are willing to have the consistency rule once you are funded, which is what I'm personally doing, then I would recommend you going for My Funded Futures. And in this, you either decide if you are willing to pay the extra to not have the consistency rule, or if you would rather have the consistency rule and pay a little bit less, which is what I personally did. I would rather have the consistency rule because it forces me to be more consistent and pay a little bit less than go for the Expert Challenge. So that is basically it. Those are the biggest differences between Topstep and My Funded Futures, and that is what I recommend you guys doing depending on where you are at in your journey. If you enjoyed the video, then make sure to check the links in the description. It would help out the channel. And if you guys want to get funded with a prop firm, then make sure to check the first link in the description. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you there. Peace.